What is going on, guys? Snickel here, and today I'm going to be getting the Platinum Trophy in God of War Ragnarok on the PlayStation 5. Now, the last trophy that I do have to get is Collector, which is to obtain all Relics and Sword Hilts. I didn't know that I was going to get this trophy when I finished up the last Berserker Gravestone, but it just happened, and it is what it is, because typically I do live stream my Platinums, but this one, it didn't happen that way. Anyway, if you guys do go on to enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like. Down in the description below, I will link you to a God of War Ragnarok playlist, which has full collectible guides and trophy guides that I'm still rolling out now over on Trophy Owners Gaming. And if you like this sort of content, consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification to stay up to date on all of my new uploads. Anyway, with all of that being said, let's get right into this video. So like I said, typically I do live stream my Platinum trophies, but since I was making a full collectible guide for this game over on Trophy Owners Gaming, I accidentally kind of earned this trophy. But if you want to follow me, there's a link to my Twitch down in the description below. I try to stream over there when I can, but I really haven't recently. Maybe a New Year's resolution. We'll see how it goes. So anyway, this is the final boss here, or the final Berserker boss. There's a few final bosses in this game. You have your main story final boss, and then you're going to have your final Berserker Gravestone final boss. And then there is a Valkyrie, like, final boss as well. So there's multiple final bosses that you'll have to deal with. Now, I do want to note that for this fight, I was technically under-leveled. The highest level you can get in the game is level 9. I was only, like, high level 8 just because I didn't feel like grinding out materials in order to level up a few of my items and armor and stuff like that. But all in all, you know, this fight wasn't the worst in the world. I will say that there was a few things that frustrated me with this fight. One of them was that attack right there. It was like literally impossible to dodge, even though I dodged it there. It was like you had to be like perfect with it, which I understand to an extent, but like you also should give some flexibility. There's another attack which when he goes up in the air and he kind of slams down and does like a gas bubble, or like a gas attack. I don't even know what it is. He does some weird attack, and also the Valkyrie does it as well, where she'll like stomp on your throat if you don't dodge it properly. That one's like nearly impossible to dodge. You'll dodge it like one every like 10 times or something like that if you're lucky. But this attack right there, see, I feel like I was out of the circle, but he still hit me. I don't understand it. There's a few like attacks where it just feels cheesy that they hit you. But all in all, the fight isn't too bad. A lot of the moves you'll just start to see as you're, you know, doing your iterations of the fight and kind of working through it. You're never going to beat a lot of these in the first fight, but some of them you might, you know, you might just get lucky enough. So let's talk about the game for a minute. So how did I feel about the game? I really enjoyed it. Great sequel. I will say that I played this game a little differently than I would typically play a game. Typically, when I play games, I get the collectibles as I'm playing through, so I don't have to actually go back and clean them up. But since I was doing a full collectible guide for this game, and you kind of need to beat the main story in order to do all of the collectibles efficiently, I ended up just blasting through the main story and then doing the collectibles after the fact. And doing that really, really drained me when I was playing through, because I beat the main story and I felt really good about that. I felt like I was making good time and everything, because I try to be as efficient as possible when I'm playing through games. I felt like I was making good time. I was enjoying the story. It didn't feel like I was getting bored. But as I was doing cleanup and doing all of that and going through a few of the realms like Vanaheim and Svartalfheim, I felt like I was just getting drained. Like the game was really, really boring me, and it felt like a chore to get through. And that's really no one's fault but my own, because I did, again, wait to do those collectibles after the fact, so it was going to feel like a chore to kind of get through it, because I was doing all of the collectibles. So I will say, if you do end up playing the game that way, it may feel like a little bit of a slog when you're going through those collectibles, just because you're jumping around to so many areas, you're doing so many things. And I will say that like Vanaheim was really cool once you got through like the main story areas for collectibles, like when you got into the jungle and all that. Doing all of that was really cool. But you know, playing through Svartalfheim and a lot of Vanaheim, it was just like, it was a real slog, and I was really struggling to get through and continue to play it. The only thing that kept me going was obviously the environments. They're phenomenal. The graphics, the story, the backstories to all the old God of Wars that you have with like Mimir was phenomenal. Like, little, like, all the little details is what kept me going. If all those little details weren't there, if the graphics weren't like really good, the environment wasn't good, it wasn't God of War. With the God of War story and backstory, I probably would have put the game down for a minute and played something else before I got through the rest of those collectibles. But having all of those little nuances really kept me going through, and that's what ended up making me finish the game and do all that, because all of the other realms are like super easy and fast, like Helheim and everything else is super fast. I guess Midgard took a little bit of time as well, but it wasn't awful. So here we are finishing it up. Now, the attacks that I have, my heavy runic attacks actually came from the Ravens. All three of my heavy runic attacks came from the Raven collectibles, and they're like AoE attacks. They're really good, but I was kind of panicking here at the end. I was like, man, I really don't want to start this over. I was on this for probably about 30 minutes or so, and the final Valkyrie boss I was on for about an hour. So those were like the biggest chunks of time as I was playing through the game, and I was doing this on the normal difficulty, so it wasn't like super difficult. I wasn't trying to like really destroy myself with the hardest difficulty. So there we go. We finished him up there. We are doing the final animations, which are phenomenal, by the way. And then here we go. So that's going to get us the trophy Grave Mistake, which is for defeating the final Berserker Gravestone King. And then we're going to get Collector for doing all the hilts and the relics and all that. And then we are also going to get the Platinum Trophy, the Bear and the Wolf. Really enjoyed this game. I'm glad I got it day one. I love God of War. But anyway, with all of that being said, let's take a look at this list. So here it is, 100% with the Platinum, no DLC or anything, and from all the previous God of War games, I'm not anticipating any DLC coming from this, but as you're looking through the list here, you're going to get trophies for basically doing everything in the game. You're going to get a lot of bronzes for just beating the main story, a gold for beating the main story, and then the rest of the trophies are going to come as you're just going through, doing all of the collectibles, doing all of the favors, basically doing everything else in the game. You are going to have to essentially 100% this game in order to get all of the trophies, but we'll talk about some numbers at the end. It's really not that bad, and again, the game is super enjoyable to play through. If you're doing the collectibles as you're playing through the game, then you shouldn't come through that little that little valley that I went through, where like I really wasn't wanting to play the game because I was doing the game the way that I really wouldn't suggest doing it. Anyway, here's the profile. Trophy level 571, 2%. I've got 14,006 total trophies. I've got 9,411 bronze, 3,146 silver, 1,226 gold, 223 platinums. Like I said, 14,006 total trophies. I finally broke 14,000 whatever milestone that means. And then here's the Platinum Trophy itself. Again, the Bear and the Wolf. So I would not suggest to play the game the way that I played it, and I do intend on getting this Platinum on the PlayStation 4 because I do want to stack all of the God of War games, and I'm going to play it completely differently over there. But the way that I would suggest to play the game is to do the collectibles as you're playing through the game, and then you can go and clean up those other collectibles as you're playing through. You are going to have to do a significant amount of exploring, but you can explore as you're playing through the game. You don't have to just play through the main story and then go and do everything after the fact. You can do a little bit of exploring while you're playing through. And the reason why I say to do that is this game has like 400 and some odd collectibles. So if you're going to go and do them all at the end of the game, that's a significant amount of time that you're going to have to put into doing those collectibles. So now let's talk about some numbers now. So difficulty out of 10 that I'm going, actually, let's talk about time. I always forget how I do this, but let's do difficulty first. So difficulty out of 10, I'm going to give this like a 4 out of 10. And the reason I'm going to give it a 4 is because you don't have to play it on the hardest difficulty. You don't have to play it on any certain difficulty. You can play it on whatever difficulty you want to. But with that being said, even playing this on the medium to sometimes easier difficulty, there are those little annoyances with the boss fights that might drive you a little crazy. So that's why I'm going to rate it a little bit below average, but you will get used to it as you're playing through the game, and it's really not super difficult. Time it takes max to get the platinum, you're looking at around 40 to 50 hours. Now, you can do it under 40 hours, but that would mean you'd have to be like super efficient, getting all the collectibles and doing all that, and basically ruining the story because you would be watching collectible guides or not doing the story or just hopping all over the place. So it's doable to do it under 40 hours, but I would say more 40 to 50 hours. I got the game done in around 45 hours, so I think somewhere in there is a good time. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the game down in the comments below. Again, down in the description below, you'll find a link to a playlist which will take you to full collectible guides, trophy guides, anything you need to get through the game. So go check that out if you're having any issues. Again, let me know your thoughts on the game down in the comments below. Also, down in the description below, you'll find links to all types of other things, my Twitter, my Twitch, other videos like this. So if you want to go follow me on any of that stuff, I would greatly appreciate it. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like. If you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed already, consider subscribing for more trophy content like this, and I hope to see you all around sometime soon.